At my brother's birthday, I walked in with a gift. My mom saw me and said loudly, "Oh, you weren't on the guest list. Must have been a mistake." Everyone turned. I just set the gift on the counter and left. In the parking lot, I pressed upload on the video I'd saved for 2 years. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded. My mom called me 9 times, and my dad sent one final text. "Please delete it. We need to talk," without thinking twice. What I regretted most wasn't even walking into the party. It was that I'd actually tried, that I'd spent hours tracking down this gift. Several $100 on a signed, authenticated jersey from the team Travis had been obsessed with since we were kids. It wasn't some last-minute Amazon order either. I pulled strings, used a contact I hadn't spoken to in years. I even paid extra for the rush shipping so it would arrive in time. I wrapped it myself that morning. No card, just a clean box and a perfect fold on the paper. Stupid. I should have known better. I hadn't spoken to my brother since the mortgage thing. He and his girlfriend wanted to buy an apartment. Well, technically a condo, but they couldn't qualify on their own. So they asked me to co-sign. Not lend, co-sign. Tie my name and credit to their mess. When I said no, they both flipped. It turned into a shouting match, and that was the last time we talked. 2 months ago. They'd been living with my parents ever since. And by the way my mom talked, you'd think I kicked them out of a shelter. She acted like I'd ruined their lives. Never mind the $2,200 I gave my dad last year and told him not to pay back, or the time I bailed them out when the water heater broke, or the groceries I paid for, the electric bill, the 1,000 little things they don't seem to remember. All erased the second I said sorry. I can't help this time. But despite all that, I showed up. I don't even know why. I guess I thought it was the right thing, family and all that. My dad texted me the address. Said Travis wouldn't mind if I dropped by. Not, "You're invited," just, "You can drop by." So I parked a few houses down, walked in holding that gift like it actually meant something. The place was packed. People I hadn't seen in years. Everyone smiling, drinking, loud music playing. It looked like a celebration. My brother in the middle of it all, laughing with a beer in his hand. I took a step inside, and that's when it happened. My mom saw me, looked straight at me from across the room, and said it louder than she needed to. "Oh, you weren't on the guest list. Must have been a mistake." The silence that followed didn't last long. Maybe 3 seconds, but it felt like a full minute. Everyone turned. Some people laughed. Awkwardly. Travis smirked. A few just stared, confused. I didn't say anything. I walked into the kitchen, set the gift down beside the cake, and walked straight out the front door. And that was the exact moment the decision locked in. No second thoughts, no guilt. Not this time. Revenge was going to happen. I wasn't going to be the quiet one anymore. Back in the car, I pulled up the cloud folder. There it was, untouched since the day I saved it. A 37-second video sent to me 2 years ago by Travis's old roommate. One night, the guy got drunk and started venting, told me he had dirt on my brother. I didn't ask for it, but he sent it anyway. And there was Travis, half naked on a couch, making out with some girl who wasn't his wife. It was grainy, but clear enough. It wasn't recent, but it also wasn't old enough to be innocent. I never said anything. I never showed it to anyone, until now. I uploaded it to a private link. No hashtags, no comments, just one line. "For my brother, happy birthday." Then I texted the link directly to his wife. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded. 3 missed calls from my mom, 2 from Travis, then another and another. Dad called once, then sent a message. "Please delete it. We need to talk." And then from Travis's wife, "We need to talk, now." I didn't respond to anyone. I just watched the messages roll in. They thought they could keep kicking me without ever getting kicked back. Like everything I did for them came with no cost. That I'd always be the one to show up, smile, and swallow it. Not anymore. This was just the start. I didn't drive home right away. I just kept going, past the neighborhoods I knew, onto roads I hadn't driven in years. Windows down, engine humming, no music. I needed the quiet. My phone buzzed almost constantly in the passenger seat, screen lighting up over and over again until I finally just turned it off. What surprised me the most wasn't that they were angry. It was how fast the switch flipped from smug silence inside that house to full-blown panic the second they realized I wasn't bluffing. They were used to me being the one who stayed quiet, the one who always forgave. I could feel the shift coming, and it felt good. Around 11:30 p.m., I ended up at a cheap diner I remembered from years ago. Still open, 24 hours. I ordered coffee, but it just sat there untouched. I kept playing back the moment in the kitchen, my hand placing the gift down next to the cake, my back turned as the whole room stared. They thought they'd gotten away with it again, that they could humiliate me for sport and I'd just take it. They didn't know what I was sitting on. At 1:22 a.m., I connected to the diner's Wi-Fi, opened my laptop, and checked the private link. The view count had climbed past 180. I hadn't made it public, only sent it directly to Emily, but clearly someone else had shared it. Whether it was her or someone she showed it to, I didn't care. It had done what I wanted. The secret wasn't secret anymore. Minutes later, an email came in through my work account. You broke up my family. I hope it was worth it. No greeting, no name, but I knew it was her. Emily, Travis's wife, the one person in our whole family who had ever actually been decent to me. I stared at her sentence for a long time, long enough for the coffee to go cold. I didn't know what to feel, but I didn't regret it. She deserved the truth. Travis didn't deserve her, never did. 3 hours passed. I drove again. This time I didn't go far, just around town. By the time I got back to my apartment around 4:30 a.m., I finally turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls, 8 from Travis, 4 from Mom, 3 from Dad, 2 unknowns, voicemails I didn't bother listening to. But there was one message that made me pause. From Emily. I always wondered. He said I was paranoid. He made me feel crazy. I stared at it for a while before another one came through. I left. I'm at my sister's. No anger, no drama, just the quiet aftermath of someone whose life had just snapped clean in half. Then came a text from Dad. You're going to fix this. That was it. No, are you okay? No, what happened? Just a command. Like I was the one who ruined everything. Like I hadn't been pulling this family up from the dirt for years while they kicked me in the ribs. I called him. He answered on the first ring. The voice on the other end didn't sound shaken. It sounded cold. This was a joke, he said. You're blowing up your own family over nothing. I didn't even respond to that. He kept going. She's emotional. She'll get over it. Just take it down. Now. This doesn't need to go further. I told him I wasn't deleting anything. He was quiet for a second. Then he said something that stuck with me in the worst way. You've always been the safe one, the quiet one. Now you want to act like some hero? He didn't get it. None of them did. This wasn't about being a hero. This was about finally standing up while they were still mid-kick. He hung up on me after I didn't answer. The next day, my inbox lit up again. This time, it wasn't from Emily. It was from Travis. Just one line. You'll regret this. That's when I smiled. Because now, for once, he was the one who was afraid. I didn't respond to Travis's text. I didn't have to. By the time I left for work Monday morning, half of his life had already started crumbling. Emily hadn't just left him. She took her things and sent a picture of the empty drawers. A shot of the ring on the counter. No note, just the photo. And from what I'd heard through a mutual friend, she wasn't coming back. But I knew Travis. He wasn't the type to lie down and take the hit. He was going to swing back. It started small. That week, my mom sent a group text to our extended family. Something vague and dramatic. Please pray for our family during this difficult time. A few cousins reached out, confused. I ignored them. Then one of them, Danny, called me directly. I picked up. He said, my mom told everyone you had a breakdown, that you were unstable, that you were lashing out because you were bitter and lonely. She told them Emily left Travis because of emotional abuse, and that you twisted some old footage to make it look like he cheated. I laughed out loud when I heard that. Emotional abuse from Emily. She wouldn't yell at someone if they stole her car. That's when I knew this wasn't over. They weren't going to apologize. They were going to destroy my name to save his. Then came the weird calls at work. One from an anonymous number asking if our company does background checks on its employees' internet behavior. Another claimed I had sent inappropriate content to a married woman. HR got involved. I had to sit in a tiny conference room explaining that someone from my personal life was trying to smear me. Luckily, they believed me, but the warning was clear. This was crossing into territory that could mess with my career. So I escalated. I sent another message to Emily. Not another video, just a screenshot. Travis's Tinder profile. Still active, still matching, still swiping. She replied instantly. I screenshotted this too. Thank you. I didn't hear from her again after that, but I didn't need to. I knew she was done playing the quiet wife. I had just reminded her who she married. Then, that Friday night, it happened. Someone keyed my car. Deep, ugly scratches along the driver's side. Every panel. My first guess was Travis, but he wouldn't do it himself. He'd get someone else. Probably one of his idiot friends who still thought loyalty meant vandalism. I filed a police report and attached everything. Travis's threats, the timeline, the texts. I didn't even want anyone arrested. I just wanted a record. Then I got the call. My dad again. "You're ruining this family." I didn't respond. "You're not getting another dollar from me." I wanted to laugh. He hadn't given me a dime since I was 17, so I finally said it. "That's fine, because starting now, you're not getting another one from me either." He paused, like he didn't understand, so I explained. The money for the car repair I paid for last year, the 3 months of groceries when Mom was sick, the $2,200 I gave him with no expectation of return. Gone. Forgotten. Well, now I remembered, and it was going to stay remembered. That was the last time we spoke. But I had one more move left, one thing they wouldn't expect. I started gathering every receipt, every transfer, every email and message where they asked for help. It was all going into a file. Because if they wanted to play dirty, they were about to see how far I could go. I wasn't planning to burn everything down, not all at once. I wanted them to squirm, not explode. I wanted the silence between us to stretch out long and sharp like a wire under tension. But they made the first move again. They wanted it scorched. Fine. By Monday morning, I had gathered everything. Bank statements, PayPal records, Venmo transfers, text messages, emails, even some old voicemails. I organized every dime I'd sent them into categories: utilities, emergencies, rent coverages, birthday gifts, temporary loans that were never temporary, and the ones where I was dumb enough to say, "Don't worry about it." I made a folder labeled Unpaid Debts, Family. I didn't know yet what I would do with it. Just building it gave me a strange calm. It was like seeing the ledger of my patients. Then that afternoon, I got called into my manager's office. HR was waiting. They had received a formal complaint, anonymous, but very specific. It accused me of cyber harassment, personal misconduct, and digital manipulation of private media for the purpose of emotional harm. They used words like concerning, sensitive, and reputation risk. I didn't need to ask where it came from. It was clear they weren't done with me. This wasn't about a video anymore. They were trying to take everything: the job, the credibility, the future, the one thing I had built without asking anyone in that family for help. I was placed on leave, pending review. So I escalated. I opened my inbox and drafted an email. I attached a document titled Summary of Loans and Unrepaid Financial Support. It was itemized, detailed, and included screenshots with timestamps. I sent it to my father. I CC'd my mother. BCC'd my lawyer. Not just a threat anymore. I'd scheduled a consultation for Friday morning. The subject line was simple: Notice of Financial Action Pending. Exactly 23 minutes later, my phone rang. It was my mom. No hello, no breath, just, "You wouldn't do this. You wouldn't sue your own father." I didn't answer right away. I let her fill the silence with all the things I expected: how this was hurting the family, how I was overreacting, how I was selfish. Then she said something I hadn't heard from her in a long time. "Fine, do what you have to do. Just know we're done." I ended the call without saying a word. I thought that would be the end of it for the night. I was wrong. Around 10:40 p.m., someone knocked on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole, and for a second, I actually thought I was dreaming. Emily. She was standing there, holding a small black USB drive. No bag, no expression, no words, just the drive. She handed it to me. "I'm not trying to drag this out, but I found this in Travis's desk, hidden under some fake tax folders. I think you should hear what's on it." And then she left. I sat there for an hour before plugging it in. There were several audio files dated over the last year. It took me a minute to understand what they were. Secret recordings, voice memos. Travis had been recording conversations with my parents. Most were garbage, arguments, gossip, nonsense. But one clip stopped me cold. My mom's voice. "She's not family. She's a wallet with a face." Travis laughed. "She says no once, and suddenly she thinks we owe her something." Then my dad chimed in. "Don't worry. Let her sulk. She'll come crawling back like always. She doesn't have anyone else." I sat in my kitchen, listening to that loop 3 times. Then I created a new folder on my desktop, Evidence for Legal Use, because this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about cutting them off in a way they could never recover from. Friday morning, I walked into the lawyer's office with a flash drive in my pocket and the calm of someone who had stopped caring about the consequences. I wasn't there to throw punches. I was there to draw a line. The consultation didn't take long. I showed him the folder, the transfers, the voice recordings. His reaction was exactly what I expected. You have enough here to file a civil claim, easily. He asked if I wanted to sue them all, or just my father. I said I'd start with my father. The $2,200 was more than enough to make it real. It wasn't about the money. It was about setting the tone. I sent a formal letter that evening. Notice of legal intent. Certified mail. It would land in their mailbox Monday morning. I figured they'd call or show up or at least scream into my voicemail again. But they didn't. That silence was louder than anything they'd said before. Then, Sunday evening, the final fracture hit. Travis's friend Jeremy, the same guy who used to tag along everywhere and post obnoxious pictures of their squad, messaged me. Just a link. No message. I clicked it. Private Instagram story screen recorded. It showed Travis pacing outside a bar, shouting into his phone, drunk. The audio was garbage, but you could still hear pieces. She fucking left me because of that coward sister of mine. She ruined my life. I'll end her job. I swear to God. It wasn't even about Emily anymore. It wasn't about me, or the video, or the party. It was about control. And Travis didn't have it anymore. That scared him. By Monday afternoon, my dad texted me again. You've made your point. Call it off. I didn't answer. Then he called. I didn't pick up. Then a second text. We'll go to court if that's what you want. I responded with a screenshot of the certified mail receipt and nothing else. That night, Travis called me. I let it ring out. Then he sent a voice message. 30 seconds of profanity and threats. At the end, he said something that made my hands go cold. You think you've won? You think this is over? So, I took the USB drive, the printouts, the timeline, and filed the official suit. Small claims. Clean. Direct. Documented. A week later, they were served. That was the last time anyone in my family spoke to me. No texts, no voicemails, no weird emails, no threats. Just silence, like the last breath after a scream. I walked into my apartment that night, and for the first time in months, I slept. It's been a little over 5 months since the court hearing. Long enough that the dust has settled, but not long enough that the air feels clean. I won. Technically, the judge ruled in my favor. My dad was ordered to repay the $2,200. He never did, not a cent. But that was never really the point. The point was drawing a line, making it clear that I wasn't their backup plan anymore, not their silent sponsor, not their safety net. I wanted them to know I was done playing my role in their story. The lawsuit made headlines, at least within the family. A cousin texted me after the ruling and said, I can't believe you really did it. I didn't reply. I've heard almost nothing since. Emily finalized the divorce 2 months ago. Clean break. She moved to Colorado to live with her sister, took a job at a nonprofit. She sent me one last email, just a quiet, measured thank you. She said if I hadn't sent that video, she'd probably still be stuck trying to fix something that never wanted to be fixed. I told her she didn't owe me anything, but I was glad she got out. That was the last time we talked. I haven't seen or heard from my parents since the day the court papers were delivered. No calls, no apologies, no fake attempts at reconciliation. My mom deleted me from her Facebook without a word. My dad never answered the lawyer's follow-ups. They disappeared, like I never existed to them in the first place. Every once in a while, I still get updates about Travis. Not directly, just through mutual friends or random tags I'm still connected to. He's alone now, drinking more, jobless, last I heard. His girlfriend left. He's living in the basement again, pretending everything's fine. Still telling people I ruined his marriage with some ancient video. I don't even bother defending myself anymore. Let them say whatever they want. The people who matter know the truth. A few weeks ago, I found that birthday gift. The signed jersey I left on the kitchen counter that night. Someone had stuffed it in a plastic bag and left it on my doorstep. No note, no message, just a silent return, like it had never happened. I almost laughed. They couldn't throw it out, couldn't burn it, but they didn't want it either. It was too real, too much of a reminder. So I took it inside and put it in a drawer. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe because it's the last thing I'll ever give them. Now we don't talk, we don't see each other. No birthdays, no holidays, nothing. And it's strange because I thought it would hurt more. I thought I'd miss them. But I don't, not really. I miss the idea of what family was supposed to be, not what mine actually was. We're like ships at sea now, drifting. Not lost, just apart. No lights, no contact, no course that'll ever bring us back together. And I've made peace with that. Because sometimes cutting ties isn't cruel, it's survival. It's been nearly a year now. Life is quiet. That kind of quiet you only realize you need after you finally get it. I moved last month. Different city, smaller place, less clutter. I didn't tell anyone from the old life. I changed my number, left no forwarding address. Just disconnected cleanly. But a few weeks ago, I got a message through my work email from a name I didn't recognize right away. Linda P. I almost deleted it as spam until I read the first line. I think you should know your father's in the hospital. It was from someone at the small community center where he occasionally volunteered, at least when he wanted people to think he was doing something useful. The message said he'd collapsed. Some kind of stroke. Stable now, but it looked bad. I stared at the email for almost an hour. Then I closed my laptop and went on with my day. 3 days later, another message came, this time from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. They're asking if you're coming to see him. Your mom's been sitting by his side. They say he might not wake up. I didn't reply. It wasn't bitterness. I didn't feel hate. I just felt done. The story had already ended for me. They turned the page a long time ago, and I had already closed the book. Then last week, the final unexpected turn came. A letter, real paper, no return address. Inside was a check. No note, just that. I sat down and laughed. One of those hollow, confused laughs you can't explain. I didn't cash it. I just stared at it for a while, then stuck it in a drawer right next to that stupid jersey. I don't know who sent it. My father, my mother, someone trying to tie up a thread before the end. But it didn't change anything. Because the truth is, closure doesn't come from the people who hurt you finally making it right. It comes when you stop waiting for them to. I don't know if my dad's still in that hospital bed. I haven't checked. Maybe he's awake. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he regrets it. Or maybe he's still convinced I was the villain. Doesn't matter anymore. What I've learned is that sometimes the most painful things are the things that don't ever resolve. They just fade, slowly, quietly, until one day you realize you haven't thought about them in weeks. That's what happened to us. We didn't explode. We didn't reconcile. We just drifted like ships in the dark. And I never turned on my light again.